What's up, Handle Geeks? So the other day in the comments, I got a really good question. Someone said, I see a lot of players that are just amazing. They're very talented, very skilled, whether it's on YouTube or just, street ball legends or people they play with. And their question was, why aren't they in the NBA? Well, in this video, I'm gonna break down some of the main reasons a lot of players don't make the NBA. So whether you're a player, you can avoid these mistakes, or if you're a coach and you've got a player that you feel like has NBA potential, you can help them get there. Coach Jesse Muench with Get Handles Basketball, where we train harder and smarter so you can play like the pros. Subscribe and click the bell icon so you can catch the newest videos. One of the biggest problems, both from coach to player and player to coach, is communication, and within that communication, being coachable, right? There's a lot of players that are great, but don't make the NBA because they're not coachable or because they're not on the same page with their coach. I've got an awesome solution for you. Download the Band app. I'm gonna have a link for that down below. I've actually partnered up with them for this video. It's a free communication app designed for busy coaches. There's a calendar. You can upload photos and images. There's messaging. You can take polls. You can have people RSVP. So you don't have to waste time flipping through a million different apps, emails, text messages, all that stuff. It's all in one spot for you. Coaches can actually see which players saw their different posts so they can make sure everyone's being held accountable. The app is completely private and secure, and coaches can decide exactly who they want to invite into the groups. All the features in the app are completely free. You can use them on a smartphone or on a computer. And Band is donating a total of over $250,000 to sports teams so they can step up their game this 2019 school year. Start saving your time on communication and win a sponsorship. Check out the Band app at the top link in the description down below. So with all that being said, here's why that element of communication is so important. If your player doesn't show up to practices or they're missing time out with the coach, they're not gonna get as much improvement as they could be, right? They're not gonna be as coachable as they could be because they're not gonna understand all the little details a coach wants out of a player, as far as maybe like, don't overuse your dribbles, execute your crossover this way, make sure you're setting your picks this way, pay attention to this tweak on your jump shot. All those little things that a player can get, they're not gonna get if they're not with their coach. But that's more on the skill side. As far as the coachability side of things, just being around coaches more and having the player communicate and understand exactly what the coach wants, and vice versa, the coach being able to communicate with the player exactly what they want, that's gonna allow the player to be a more coachable player, because then they'll know how to listen to all those details and apply, and they'll be able to see the benefits of them. They'll know how to show up for practice on time. They'll know to make sure that they're the last one that leaves the gym. They'll be able to do all those little things that the coach wants, like hustle for loose balls, etc., etc., etc. And from that, the player and the coach can develop some sort of an understanding of expectations, a relationship, and whatnot. And now the coach is much more likely to see a better performance out of the player. Player is much more likely to get more playing time. And if the player is playing better and getting more playing time, that leads to more scouts taking notice. Plus, from that, the coach could maybe help that player get into exposure camps and things like that. And that's the next big tip, is to find ways to get exposure. So back in the day, there was a lot of players, one of the reasons they didn't make the NBA is because they weren't coachable and maybe they got into problems off the court. So that's another little second side thing, is don't get into problems off the court, drugs and partying too much and doing things you just shouldn't be doing, especially in today's day and age, because exposure can be not just good exposure. You could be posting stuff on social media of you doing or just saying things you shouldn't be saying. You always got to keep in mind that coaches, scouts, all that, they're gonna look at your past history, okay? If you wanna play NBA basketball, those coaches and scouts matter because you're probably gonna have to play at least 1 year of college basketball unless the NBA changes the rules again. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you're presenting yourself in a way that the exposure you're getting is good. So get rid of all the off the court garbage. Don't be getting caught up in the wrong crowd. Stay focused on your game, improving, and every decision you make, saying, is this gonna get me closer to that goal of playing NBA? What kind of an impression is this gonna make on coaches and scouts? Because if it leaves a bad one, they are gonna check your back history before they offer you a scholarship. Because if they think you're gonna be trouble on the court, your chances just went down to zero. But the other side of the exposure, which is the second key, getting yourself out there. So exposure camps is one way. Social media and YouTube, things like that. There's players out there that have a huge name for themselves because they went viral on YouTube, okay? That's a positive way of using social media to get your name out there, right? You can be getting the attention of people around the world, even if you're in a small city. That was not an option years ago. If you got found in a small city, you had to be absolutely amazing. But even then, there was no guarantee you were gonna get found if you were in a really, really, really small town, especially in a country outside of America, right? Nowadays, Internet allows everyone to know everyone if you are willing to connect and get the word out there. Getting the word out there, through exposure camps, getting maybe into some AAU teams, putting stuff out on social media, all that can help you get your name out there, and that can improve your chances of playing in the NBA. Leave me a comment. Who's the best player you've ever seen that didn't make it to the NBA? And then the third big thing is adapting and adjusting your game as necessary. There's a lot of players that weren't willing to do that, and because of that, they didn't make the NBA. So yeah, being coachable is a big step. That'll get you maybe into college basketball. And yeah, getting exposure is big. That could get you into college basketball. But you've got to be able to adapt your game because things aren't always going to be the same. If you go into college basketball, a lot of things are changing, right? Players are taller, and when you get to the NBA, they're even taller yet. So that's another time you'll have to make those adjustments. Your coaches are going to change, so the expectations of the offense, the way you should be playing, your role on the team, that's going to change. So you can't just rely on everything that you've always ever done to take you to that next level and keep you ahead of the pack to get to the NBA. You're gonna need to make adjustments. You've got to make sure you're paying attention to those three things: being coachable, getting good exposure, and then making adjustments, besides the obvious one of having great game. I got a video here that will really help you improve your shooting instantly. This video will help you improve your ball handling instantly. Again, to improve that communication, check out the top link in the description to get that band app. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in one of those videos, and hopefully you'll grab that app.